and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. We've got a great show tonight, but before we get started, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Balance of Nature. If you know anything about me, you know that I take my health very seriously. In fact, with each year that passes, the goal of staying in my healthiest and best shape takes on more and more importance. Feeling good is something that I don't take for granted, and it has become an essential goal for me every single day. That's why I always remember to take Balance of Nature supplements. Balance of Nature receives over 1,000 success stories every single month. They have hundreds of thousands of customers who've purchased billions of capsules of their fruit and veggies over the past 20 years. Their products are gluten-free and non-GMO, and they contain no added sugars or synthetics. If you are thinking about looking for something to make you feel better naturally, you should definitely give Balance of Nature a try. In fact, you can order today. Check it all out on their website, and whether you order online or call them directly, you can use the promo code Lara to get a special offer of 35% off. Call them at 800-246-8751 and use discount code Lara, or order online at balanceofnature.com and use discount code Lara, L-A-R-A, to get 35% off. If getting more serious about your health is something you've been wanting to commit to, I highly recommend you check out Balance of Nature. Tonight, we are joined by former WWE superstar, Natalie Eva Marie. Natalie, you're so cool. I'm so jealous of your hair. We were just talking before the show. I got a bad hair situation today. You're the best.
It looks bomb.
You're so nice.
I don't think you look bad ever.
Oh my gosh. I'll send you a check later. You're so great. Listen, you are so cool. You have a huge following on social media, and I think people like to follow you because you're really inspirational. Like, you're a badass chick. You're out there working out. You're doing cool stuff. You're, like I said, inspiring people. Did you ever imagine that you would have kind of the following and really, I feel like you have so much sway with people that you have now, that you would do all these incredible things that you have done in life so far, and you've got a lot of life left to live at this point?
I hope so. I mean, first,
Amen.
Like we were saying, off camera or before we started the show, I'm honored to be on your show. I'm a big fan and love what you're doing. So right back at you, the fact that you're saying that, what I'm putting out there on social media is inspirational is really a cool moment for me. So thank you so much for that. But yeah, I mean, growing up, I definitely didn't think that I was going to be a wrestler, because that's really how it started. But I'm really blessed because I wouldn't be here without, God gave me an opportunity and a platform. So it would be dishonorable if I didn't use it in a really good way.
Yeah, so, because you started, you played college soccer when you were younger, obviously. How did you go from that to then being a professional wrestler? It's kind of a leap.
It is definitely crazy. But as a kid, so I'm Mexican Italian. My mom's from Mexico, and you can only imagine growing up in that household, a lot of fire, a lot of heat. And I'm the youngest of all boys. So I have 3 older brothers, and they were all athletes. So I wanted to be just like one of them. My mom put me in a beauty pageant when I was a little girl, and dance and all of that. And then the boys were out there playing. And so that's what I wanted to do. So I was always just a massive, massive tomboy. And looking back, it really helped me in the sense of discipline. When you're an athlete, you have to show up, you got to train, you're there. It teaches you how to win. It teaches you how to lose, which is super important in life in general. That's why I love athletics and sports and team sports. That's why I really don't get the whole participation trophy thing that's going.
Oh God, no. Yeah. It's a disaster. Like the worst thing you could possibly do. Yeah.
It's silliness. So, cause you need to learn how to lose, because honestly, I lost a ton on the field and then off the field, and you need to know how to carry yourself. So you have to be a good winner and a good loser. But then, the dream was to be a professional soccer player. And honestly, like, things happened in the sense of injury. I tore my ligaments in my ankle, but honestly, it was more of like a lack of self-belief, thinking that I couldn't do it. And so I think that's what really ultimately took me out, but it got me through college. I graduated with a business management degree from Cal State Fullerton. And then I remember calling my parents and being like, you know, I'm just not really ready to go into the corporate world. So I'm going to move to LA and kind of see what that's about. And, you know, my parents are super conservative, like very traditional. They just celebrated their 50th year anniversary in June.
Aww. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in the Bay Area from the East Bay.
Okay.
Concord, shout out to Concord, California. And they were very like reluctant, but then again, my parents are always, I'm fortunate. They were always supportive. And my dad always said, you know, if you want to do something, you get what you put into it. So you go all in. So I move to LA and dabble in that. And, you know, the typical kind of LA life. You know, I was bottle service, waitress during the day, or at night, excuse me, and auditions during the day. So I was doing that. And then finally my dad's like, you know, and I would get little gigs here and there, but enough for me to like hold on, you know, like little cameos. I remember I was in Entourage and I thought that was like I thought that was everything. Girl, my mom so I tell my family and my brothers to this day, my oldest brother especially, he'll like to call me just out of the blue sometimes, and I'll pick up the phone and he'll just say, you ain't shit, and then hang up the phone.
By the way, that's the greatest thing with brothers. So I am one of two. I have a younger brother, and I feel like we have kind of that same vibe, but I grew up a lot like you in the sense that I was the only girl in my neighborhood. So like if I wanted to hang out, I was hanging out with the guys. And I myself was a tomboy for many years because I was trying to hang. I was trying to do what the guys were doing, and I thought that was cool. But I love that. It really does like keep you humble. If ever you thought about they keep you there, right?
Oh, they totally do. And I really was. I mean, like even looking back, you know, my senior year in high school, my girlfriends were cheerleaders, and I was coming to school and I was definitely the girl in a sports bra and a wife beater. Which is definitely a polar opposite because now, you know, colored hair and and the whole thing. But that was later on. So I get this Entourage job, and I think it's just like everything. Well, it finally comes out, and my brothers call me and they're like, you weren't in this episode at all. Like, where were you? I was literally just, you know, what are they called? Background. If you blinked, you missed me. I literally am like walking in the back. So anyways, enough just to kind of like grasp and hold on. You know, I would get like a cover of a magazine or something to keep me thinking like, oh, okay, keep going. And then
kept you hungry.
It did. It really. Yeah. And I definitely had a lot of trials and tribulations up into the WWE opportunity. So when that came, I went to it just like anything else. It was an open audition. WWE doesn't do them anymore, but they call it, because we're all superstars, and at the time it was called a diva search. So they would go to all the major cities all around the world. So they came to Los Angeles, and it was like a cattle call, hundreds of girls. And I didn't know what I was walking into until I walked into the HQ in LA and I saw like Hulk Hogan, and I'm thinking to myself, wait, whoa. This is like WWF back in the day, because I shared a room with one of my brothers. We had bunk beds, and I'm like, you know, every kid, like you're doing jumping off the bunk and doing all of the things, which I don't recommend for kids at home. Safety first. But and then I'm thinking to myself, wow, if I can get this job, it has everything infused into one place that I want to do. Not only do you have to create a character, so you're acting, you get to perform live globally. And then WWE does so much with community. So they do a lot with our military. Military is huge for me. My dad's a Vietnam veteran, served in the Marines. So anything that I can do to give back to our military is like, I'm all in for that. So I'm like, okay, I need to like buckle down and try to land this job. So after, you know, callback. The last callback was an in-ring physicality tryout for 4 weeks to see if you can handle all the physicality required. And plus, I also am an athlete at heart. So I was missing that discipline, that showing and having that kind of routine.
having something to train for and train toward, right?
Completely. And the camaraderie of a locker room, all of the things that come with being an athlete and being a part of a team sport. So I really am super grateful that God put that in my lap at that time. And I just seized the opportunity. And lo and behold, at that same exact time that I was trying out to just go and, get a developmental deal, which is all it is, was you do this process. If you make it through those 4 weeks, the last little bit, after they narrowed it down, then you would just go to their training facility, which I always refer to it as like, in baseball, they have AAA, and then the guys in AAA are trying to get to Major League. They're trying to get to the big show. And so that's kind of in wrestling as well. Not so much now because everything, NXT is what it's called, and they're on television now too. So it's grown dramatically in the last 10 years. But at the time it wasn't, and it was in Tampa. And you would go there, you would learn how to wrestle, because I knew nothing. I'm a field athlete. I like to keep my feet on the ground. In wrestling, I remember the 4-week physicality tryout, forward, backward rolls. I'm like, what is this? But I fell in love with it because it was so hard and so out of the box. And I loved that, just, you got it, the grind, the grit of it. It was.
What's the most surprising thing about like training to do that? Because obviously I've never done it either. I consider myself a bit of an athlete, and anytime there's something available that's new for me, I'm like, yes, let me try that out. I'm all about that. What was the most surprising thing about learning how to be a wrestler?
I think that I loved it so much because I had never done it. And I went into my audition at 28. That's old in the world, especially picking up something brand spanking new. You have people that have been wrestling since they were like 7, 5. And then here I come at 28 years old, and I barely could do a back roll because I'm not a dancer and I'm not a gymnast. The girls that were gymnasts or previous dancers, they picked it up a lot easier because their body is just, I feel they're more in tune. Their body is just, I guess, more graceful. So they're able to kind of move with the certain moves that you are learning.
And it's probably a little bit of like almost like choreography too, in a sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
That's what's so crazy about wrestling is that it's all the physicality that you see on television is real. However, our matches are predetermined, so we know who's winning and losing. So it's like a soap opera, yet, you're really taking the getting
you're doing the moves. You're actually, of course.
You're getting thrown through a table, and that's definitely not soft. So that was the biggest thing. And I just loved the competition of it because at the time too, which it's evolved and amazing. The girls only had one storyline. So they only had very small amount of TV. So the competition was intense. And at that same exact time, WWE started to film a reality show. And lucky for me, that's why I said God was on my side, man. Because all of a sudden, the last minute decision, they wanted 2 girls that knew nothing about the business, didn't know how to wrestle, and come on the show. And so I remember, and this has only happened maybe a couple times in my life, where I remember I get a call saying, hey, do you mind going to the studio out in Los Angeles because we have a potential project? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Because at the time I was broke and had nothing going on in the sense of, yes, I'll go. It was one of those like kind of fork in the road, and something had to happen for me or else I don't know what I was going to do type moments where, I had made some bad decisions prior to this opportunity, and I was freshly sober as well. So that's another huge part of my story too. But so I'm like, yeah, of course. I remember pulling up. It was Buena Murray Studios in Burbank, I think that's where it was. So I sit down. It was like a 3-hour kind of like interview, basically like, who are you? Childhood, family, parents, etc. After the 3 hours, they said, you know what? If this goes well for you, this project is moving really fast. So make sure your phone is on you. I walked out of that interview and I was like, I remember calling my now husband. I was like, Jonathan, I motherfucking murdered that. Like I had it in my bones. So from that day, that was on a Friday. We hop in the car because I'm from the Bay Area. We hop in the car, drive to the Bay because we were both living out here in Orange County. He meets my parents for the first time. Yeah, I get a call on Saturday saying, "Congratulations, you got the job. You're flying to WrestleMania on Monday, and you start." So
my gosh.
they said something about my hair at that time because I had black hair, and a lot of the girls at the time that had left or retired had platinum blonde, and they didn't want me to get confused with the other girls that all had dark hair. So they said something about blonde hair, but I was like so ecstatic because I got the call and I'm with my family. So it was amazing. Sunday, on our way back to Los Angeles, because I'm now leaving, and now I bypassed also the developmental stage because I got the developmental contract after my audition, and that's what it was, where I'm like, oh, I'm doing this. I'm going out. I'm moving to Tampa, and here we go. I'm going to try to be on the main roster, Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown. But then I just skyrocketed straight to WrestleMania and Monday, like onto exactly where you want to be when you first like get into that world. So then on Sunday, Jonathan asked my dad for my hand in marriage. On Monday, I'm on a flight to WrestleMania, started filming Total Divas, which aired on E, and at the same time trying to figure out how to wrestle. So it was
girl.
Yes.
You had a lot going on all at once. I feel like you would fit in well with the Trump family in a lot of respects.
Absolutely.
To tell you the truth. That's crazy. You know what I love? I love, Natalie, that you are always referencing like how blessed you are and how God has really like played a role in it, because I feel the same way about so much. I mean, the fact, honestly, that I ended up, first of all, with the last name Trump, because like in my wildest dreams, never was that I was never going to be a part of like some sort of a known family. And then to have the opportunities that I've had to have, you know, a front row seat to an incredible and historic campaign and election of 2016, to be part of a first family, all of these things that I've been so blessed to do and things that I've loved doing. I'm just like, I mean, glory to God, because I don't know how else you explain any of it. It has to be a higher power. And I love that you're always talking about that, because I feel the same way about a lot of things. And I think it's so important to recognize that. So very cool that you do that. Have you always been like a spiritual person?
Definitely. I mean, I was raised Catholic. So, you know, first communion, and I had a quinceañera. So
I love it.
The church was always in me, and I always had a relationship with God. I mean, my mom and I have matching, we wear matching rosaries. So it's like something that has always been in me. And then, you know, there's certain events in my life that it's and WWE, Total Divas, and the reality show all coinciding. And also my husband too, because we got engaged after 5 weeks. So,
wow. Oh my gosh.
I know. So
wow.
I know. So like those types of things, like you can't put it on anything else other than God. As long as you can open your eyes and your ears and stay the course, opportunities will present themselves. You just need to make sure you walk through that door.
You have to make sure. Yeah, no, you have to make sure you're listening. This is what I always say. Like, you know what, the opportunity he will show you, you have to be paying enough attention to see that opportunity. And then it's on you to take it sometimes. And sometimes it's scary. Look, some of the greatest things that I've done in my life, or things that I think are great, were the most terrifying. But honestly, as an athlete, it's one of those things where I was like, you know what? I was terrified going into such and such track meet. I was terrified going into this game. I remember those same kind of feelings from sports that I played in the past, or sports that I'm still currently doing. And I'm like, you know what? I know I can handle it. So you just got to do it. You got to take the leap sometimes, although it's scary. And oftentimes those are the ones with the biggest payoff in the end. I mean, for you to literally move across the country after having just gotten engaged
Mhm.
to really live out something that most people could only dream about doing. That's pretty epic. But you had to walk through that door. You had to nail that interview. You had to seize those opportunities. And sometimes that's a scary thing to do, and it's very overwhelming. But we always have to all be paying attention. I got to ask you about your workouts because, girl, that body is working. Let me tell you. But
Yes.
but first, I want to do a quick commercial break. We're going to ask Natalie about her workouts. Nobody move. All right. Hate to interrupt the show, but our country is facing so many problems these days under Joe Biden. The last thing any of us needs is more to worry about. Unfortunately, we now have to fear losing our freedom and privacy with the Democrats' new push for a digital dollar that could allow the government to tell us what we can and cannot buy with our own hard-earned money. That's why I'm encouraging every one of you tuning into the show right now to get The Secret War on Cash, an insightful report created by my friends at Swiss America. With this report, you'll learn how to protect yourself from the threats facing our freedom and your hard-earned money. The report is available right now to my listeners free of charge. Just call 800-289-2646 or visit www.swissamerica.com/Trump for your free report. All right, Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to say thank you to my listeners for all of your continued support. And to thank you, they are having an overstock clearance sale right now for the best prices ever when you use promo code TRUMP and you get free shipping on your entire order. Take advantage of this sale and get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0 or the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and will not last long. You can also get 6-pack towel sets for only $29.98. Take advantage of the free shipping on larger items like mattresses and mattress toppers, all, of course, made 100% in the USA and on sale for as low as $99.99. Everything is on sale from the brand new kitchen towels, which have the same technology as the bath towels and actually absorb dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, so much more. To get the best specials ever, go to mypillow.com and use promo code TRUMP or call 800-624-3945, 800-624-3945, and get free shipping on your entire order while supplies last. All right, girl, tell us about what you got with the workouts, because I know you've got a lot going on. I mean, professional wrestler, reality TV star, actress, fashion designer. I've also seen that you run your own fitness programs. The thing I thought was the coolest, recently I saw that you were working out in Hawaii with the Marines. Yes. How do I get involved with that? Because that looked like just about the coolest thing. And I'm like, that's right up my alley.
Oh my gosh. Anytime you want to, I will make it happen. I was very, very fortunate. So I'm a Rain Total Body Fuel and Storm athlete. So it's a Monster Energy brand. And with Monster, they know that I'm, all for our men and women in the armed forces. So the opportunity, anytime that I can go to a base, especially lead a workout, I'm like, let's rock and roll. And so shout out to Hawaii, because they, out of all of the bases I've been to, that one, they were ready to come. They came with it hard and wanted to really just kill their workout. So it was amazing. I mean, first of all, Hawaii is absolutely gorgeous. Second, it was an honor to me because, my dad's a Marine. So it's something where today, I live to honor my parents. My parents are my heroes. And so anything that I can do to shine a light on them and their sacrifices of what they've done for myself and my brothers to have a better opportunity in life than they had as children, I want to do it. So, and our men and women, our armed forces, like what they're doing on a day-to-day basis allows us to have this conversation, allow us to show up to certain events or do our day-to-day while they're out fighting the fight, for our country. So it was such
I just got chills when you said that. I just got chills because it's so true.
Yeah.
And I have so much respect for our men and women in uniform. And I mean that about our men and women in military uniform, because you're right. They fight for our freedom to sit here right now, have this conversation, live on the greatest country on the on planet Earth. And I also say that about our men and women in uniform all around the country who are law enforcement, first responders. I mean, I am so grateful. These are incredibly tough jobs. It means that you are not with your family when most people are with their families. You risk your life, every single time you go out to do your job. And we're so blessed. And I have not been I had an opportunity to go to a military base like that and do those things. But that seems like such a cool experience. And I love that one in Hawaii that the guy you were talking to in the beginning was like, yeah, you got to be like-minded to be here. Because if not, we don't want it here. Like, he didn't care. I loved it. It was so great.
I love it because that's how I roll. It's like, if you're soft, it ain't going to work.
Yeah.
You got to be able to take it. So it's one of those things where I love our military because, they're some of the baddest men and women on the planet. And that's actually, Hawaii is super special because I know you're you're a friend of hers, but I got to meet Tulsi Gabbard for the first time out there as well.
Yeah. By the way, that's a good workout crew, Natalie. I'm just going to tell you right now, because Tulsi can get down. She does CrossFit. I do some CrossFit. I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
if we have the occasion,
do it. Us girls are going to get together and we're going to have to rally and do a little NemFit WOD, because on Sundays through my programs we do Hero WODs, which is dedicated to a first responder or a member of our military that has given the ultimate sacrifice, which I think is extremely important. And I feel like there's a lot of us that forget about that because we get wrapped up in our own daily lives. So every Sunday we do one, and Tulsi's been a huge supporter of she's just been awesome with me. And that's the beauty of social media as well, because that's how we met.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing. Social media can be like the absolute worst place ever. But it can, these people are absolutely horrendous. I mean, just
little trolls.
Some of these people are crazy, but some of it is amazing because, like, look, first of all, people feel very connected, I think, to someone like you who they may never actually get to meet in person, but they can feel like they're part of your life, that you do workouts on there that obviously people are like, I'm sure they're doing your workouts as well. And you can get connected with people in such a cool way. I'll tell you a workout that I've been seeing, speaking of social media, is this like Impossible Mile. Have you seen this?
No.
Okay. So I'm dying to do it. I feel like I should film it when I do. So I think the first one, you go to a track, and the first 400 meters, that's one time around a track for those who don't know, is all burpees. So you do burpees the whole 400 meters, which doesn't sound like much, Natalie, but when you're actually doing something like that, 400 meters, I'll tell you what, it'll take you out. Then the second one is, I think it's a bear crawl, which is, that's hard. That's a lot of ab work. I'm just going to tell y'all right now. And then what's the rest? And then there's one more in between. My gosh, I can't think of what it is. And then the last quarter mile, you run it.
Yeah, I've seen this. I remember actually you just refreshed my memory and it looks terrible, but I'm down to try it.
I'm down. We're down. Exactly.
Let's make it happen.
Let me tell you something. If you and I got together, I don't even know what would happen. We would just.
I think fire and ice.
Yes, girl. Oh,
twinsies.
Don't even. We're about to break the internet in a minute. I don't know what's going to happen.
First,
did your workouts change much whenever you were like training for wrestling versus when you like had some downtime? Like how much change did you see there?
So it's actually interesting. So a little bit, not a lot, in the sense of the consistency is always pretty much the same. But when you're in WWE, you're on the road like 290 days out of the year. So you got to be able to get your workout in when you can. And so that's when, and my husband is literally like, he's my best friend. He's my partner. He's literally everything. And he's extremely smart and a nerd. So when we first met, he worked at, so shout out to all you nerds. I literally say that in the
best way possible.
Because he worked at Blizzard Entertainment. But he's he writes all of our fitness programming, and I was in hotels all the time when I was on the road. So that's when I started doing like hotel WODs, because a lot of people underestimate body weight workouts where you can get a lot done right in the comfort by standing by your bed. So I really think the only thing that changed like kind of drastically is I have more recovery time. So I sleep more when I'm not on the road. And I'm not lifting nearly as much as I was in the sense of maxing out like on a squat or something like that. I'm more so about I don't need to, lift a certain amount of weight. I just need to make sure that I'm lifting and always moving my body. So
you're maintaining, you're not losing anything. You're just kind of like at a maintenance. I love that you say like you can work out by bed. My dad, who is also a great athlete, my dad was an All-American football player at Purdue. He was a linebacker. And my dad, when we were growing up, anytime we'd go somewhere and I'd be like, oh, there's no gym for us to work out. He'd be like, you could get a great workout in a closet. And I'm like, that's not wrong. You can get a good workout anywhere. You just have, yeah.
I mean, you mentioned the mile, the impossible mile burpees, do 100 burpees for time. It'll smoke you.
Misery.
Yeah. And you don't need anything. You don't need to go to a gym. Cause I get it. Like I don't personally I never have. Public gyms are intimidating because especially if you don't know where to go or how to navigate, and then you think people are looking at you when they're not because everyone's worried about themselves. So I get it. And if you can do something in your bedroom, in your garage, at your house, you can. Like I tell my parents, health is wealth. If you don't have your health, you have nothing. So
that's it. You only get one body. You only get one opportunity to keep it, in its best shape and to feel good. If you don't feel good, if you feel lousy all the time, then what is your quality of life anyway? I honestly, every day, that's my goal. I want to feel good. I want to have energy. I mean, I've got 2 kids, Natalie. I'm trying to fit in workouts, kids, work, everything I got going on. I need the energy to do that. And I want to feel good doing it all. So like, if you don't have that, what is there? Forget it. No, you might as well keep it up.
Well,
do your best.
I think people too forget that like if you're not taking care of yourself, mind, body, soul, then it's going to spill into your personal relationships, your business relationships, how you are with your kids. Because if you're not feeling good, I mean, how can you go and have a great conversation because you're not fully okay because you're thinking about your physical ailments or whatever is going on. So it's like, your nutrition is everything. Like I tell my parents, because my dad, his health has always been kind of, not the best, but that dude, he's the Italian stallion, man. He has, and he's a fighter. So I tell him, Dad, I just want you to walk. So I got him in the backyard, just doing laps from the basketball hoop to the fence, just keep it simple.
You got to start somewhere, and everybody can start somewhere. Where I start may be different than where you start, but there is always that opportunity to do something, and you got to, just get out and do it. That's it.
For sure.
It's kind of scary sometimes. So with everything that you're currently doing, I feel like you must have so much on your plate. Is there something, and that you've done, by the way, because I feel like you've done a lot. Is there something you still really want to do that you haven't yet tackled? Like, what's the next thing for you? Because I kind of feel like you're a little bit like me in that I am always kind of looking for the next challenge, big thing I'm going to do, whatever it is. And whenever I accomplish that, I'm like, all right, I got to find like whatever the next is. What's next for you? What you got?
I mean, you hit me nail on head. Like that is me to the T. I'm always striving for the next thing. After I accomplish one, it's like on to the next. And until actually you caught me in a stage of my life where I can't believe my life is real because, like I said, when I got into WWE at 28, I was fresh out of rehab as well. And I had, I'm an addict alcoholic at heart. And I was so embarrassed and ashamed of that I wanted it to be secret. So I wanted to kind of live a double life because I didn't want people to, I guess, judge me or whatever it may be. And then, God willing, in this coming March, I'll have 11 years. And
wow, good for you. Amazing.
Thank you. And so with God blessing me with the opportunity with WWE and Total Divas is when I first came out on season 1 about my sobriety because, it is a reality show. You are with a bunch of girls. And, when you own your story, when you own all your faults, like this is me, no one can use that against you because you take all that power with your own story. And now Where I'm sitting right now is actually our podcast studio. The Hopeaholics is what our podcast is called. And I partnered with the Infinity Group, and they're the best in the business when it comes to treatment facilities. And so I just opened up the first ever NEM Recovery Center in Laguna Beach, California. Our mission is pretty dang big in the sense of, one, like you mentioned earlier, God gave me a really big platform, and it would be a shame if I didn't utilize that and use it for good. And that's what I feel right now, my mission. And Chad, the CEO, he's been in the treatment business for 22 years. His family started the first one, Hope by the Sea, 22 years ago. And then he started the Hopeaholics podcast. And I originally came on this podcast as a guest at the end of. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. So this is why God works in crazy ways, and you have to be willing and you gotta be listening. And definitely was, because when I came out here to come on the show, I obviously came with my husband, and Chad and my husband and Shane, our other co-host of the podcast, they started talking about business and things of that nature. And so we all hit it off. And then a month later, I ended up partnering with them, my husband and I, and then I became a host of the Hopeaholics. And Chad started this podcast because he lost his son-in-law 9/11 of 2022 of fentanyl poisoning.
Oh,
Well, the fentanyl crisis it's an epidemic. I mean, I understand why the media can't use the word poisoning because of legal reasons in the sense of intent to kill. Obviously, that's the definition of poisoning, but that's what's happening. Fentanyl is coming over from China into the cartels, and then it's just spilling into the United States. We're losing 300 people a day, which is insane, because that's over 100,000 Americans a year from fentanyl. And fentanyl does not care like who kids it kills, who their parents voted for. Fentanyl,
that's right.
It's ridiculous. And that's our mission. It's breaking the stigma of there's no shame in getting help. There's shame in staying the same and playing a victim. You got to be willing to do the work, because Lord knows it is not easy, but it's one of the most things I'm so proud of, because it's given me a life beyond my wildest dreams. I mean, I'm sitting here on your show. Like, this is crazy to me. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you're the shit, dude. And it's crazy. I'm like, it's God works when you are listening and when you're doing the work. You got to do the footwork. Right. And so I'm grateful to the Carlson family, the Infinity Group. The team is everything. The patient care that they do, because I've been to a lot of treatment centers, and then, like I said, I went to treatment myself, and they're not the best. They actually care, because Chad himself is a recovering addict alcoholic as well, so he gets it, and he's been into treatment as well. So the fact that his family started 22 years ago and still going on, and there's 7 brands underneath the Infinity Group, NEM Recovery being the newest one, is incredible. And plus, what really, really stuck out to me too, and what was so attractive, was because the military is everything to me, at the Infinity Group, there is 3 designated treatment centers just for our veterans that we help.
Wow, so that's amazing.
That way they can get well, because there's nothing, it just doesn't make sense to me. They go overseas and boots on the ground, and then when they come back home, it's they need some help. They've seen a lot of stuff that civilians don't, and whether it's substance abuse or just like PTSD or some type of mental health that they just need a little bit to work through to get them back on like civilian life and back on track, because sometimes people just need a little push, and then then they can fly. So the fact that they have 3 facilities just for them, I was like, dude, this is the spot for me. And my husband and I, we live in Texas, and since November, because when I partnered with the team, I partnered with them in September, but October is hunting season. So I was like, I'm off the grid for a month. And so my husband and I went on our hunt. But as soon as I got back, then I've been out in Orange County, which is ironic. That's why, my God, he has a sense of humor, because we used to live in Orange County. I went back to WWE in 2021, so we moved to Texas. And I'm like, thank you, God, for that opportunity as well, because I'm not sure if we would have made the move as quickly as we did if I didn't go back to WWE, just because it made sense in this traveling wise to be central because we're on the road so much. And then California is nuts crazy now. But
not where you want to
yeah,
not where you want to set up shop, so to speak.
no, not now, which is wild to say because California used to be so beautiful. Like
it's a beautiful state. Now it is one of the most naturally beautiful states, I think, in the entire country.
And you have everything within driving. Like if you want beach, if you want to go to nuts.
That's why it's such a shame, Natalie, that it's just been run into the ground, that it's like on the verge of just collapsing. It's so sad. It's tragic, really. Listen, I think everything you're doing is so commendable and so cool. And I love that it's not just about you. It's about giving back. It's about helping people. Yeah. Again, like I said at the beginning of the show, it's about inspiring people, which you really do. And if people want to follow you, tune into the podcast, where can they do that?
So follow me on all socials at Natalie Eva Marie. Our podcast is The Hopeaholics, and we're on a mission because people need to know about the fentanyl epidemic, and that's really where it kind of started. And I know our CEO Chad, he knows that Justin is shining his light on not only the podcast but just opportunities. Like it's a little glimmer of him opening up the door, me being on your show is incredible to me, and I don't miss those opportunities. Like I'm fully aware because God has given me this life, and it's like now is my time to show that recovery is possible, and you just got to put in the footwork. But it's just like life, you got to move. You can't stay in your shit. You can't.
That's it.
I give myself, there's going to be bad days, and that's just life and trials and tribulations and things out of our control. And I give myself, if I'm in my feelings, because it happens, I give myself 24 hours to be in that little self-pity. And then it's then we got to move.
Gotta do it.
Then it's time
to do it. I know stuff happens. Listen, I broke both of my wrists 3 weeks before my wedding. Oh. And actually, it's funny you say that about 24 hours. I gave myself a 24-hour pity party because I was going to have wrist surgery. I knew I was going to have to get married with casts on. And I was like, oh, my God, this is a disaster. But then I was like, hold on. I still get to marry my best friend, the love of my life. I get to be around all the people I love and care about. I'm not going to sit here and wallow in this because it's still all going to happen and it's going to be great. And yeah, sometimes stuff happens. Sometimes it really sucks. Sometimes you're like, why did this happen to me? But you pick yourself up by your bootstraps. You keep marching forward. And you know what? You're going to go on and you're going to get through it. And whatever it is, you've got to deal with. That's life. And that's honestly what makes life so great. Because if you didn't have the lows, Natalie, then the highs wouldn't feel quite as good as they actually end up feeling. So yeah. Well, you're the greatest. Thank you so much for being an awesome guest with us tonight. We're going to follow everything you're doing. I'm not even joking. I'm just saying right now to everybody who's tuning in, look out for the trio working out together, possibly in Hawaii, Natalie. I don't know where.
Us Texas. 3, Tulsi, when all of our schedules align, I mean, I don't know, maybe we'll attempt that impossible mile. I don't know, but us 3 together, I think, we'll get in not only a good workout, but have some good conversation and, get a little beast mode going on.
I love that. Don't tempt me with a good time now, honey. You already know. Know. Natalie Eva Marie, thank you for joining us here tonight on The Right View. To everybody at home, as always, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow, and we'll see you next time for more of The Right View.
And I won't back down.
Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.